As the countdown reaches 0, we will see a huge fireworks display for the largest party ever held in Adelaide. 5 seconds. The fireworks in Adelaide, Australia start right on cue. And the celebrations, of course, all around Australia will continue for many hours. We saw huge fireworks displays in eastern Australia lasting for some 15-20 minutes. Sydney, Hobart.
Here in New York. That was beautiful, ladies. We're having a great party outside our window here at Rockefeller Plaza with a group of dancers from Hawaii who will be performing at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning in Times Square to mark their year 2000, coming to the 50th state. Hawaii, as you know, Ann, is one of the last places to ring in the new year this year.
And Brian, back in New York, you can hear the church bells tolling now throughout the city of Sydney. It is unbelievable, the spirit that is felt here generally, but especially tonight. It's an extraordinary evening here down under.
Okay, so they jammed 2 million people in the harbor for the fireworks display. Now what happens?
Well, now they'll stay here throughout the night. There are public concerts being held throughout the evening until dawn, actually. Jazz bands, rock bands, stuff for the kids. Everybody's being served tonight. This party is just beginning.
All right. Jane, thanks so very much. We'll be checking back in just a little bit, but first at 8:33, let's go on down to Times Square.
Good morning.
We've heard the airlines say that, in fact, flying over the New Year's Eve to the New Year is safe. Do you think it is?
Well, it's very safe because over the New Year, there's only going to be about 45 flights in the air. But the airlines, the major U.S. carriers, have been very attuned to Y2K problems and hopefully much more attuned to security problems, too. And we're all hopefully optimistic.
Do you think there's any risk to those 40-some-odd planes that will be in the sky during the changeover from New Year's Eve to the New Year?
No, because there's so little traffic. I mean, our air traffic control system and our flight system is so complicated. We handle so many flights. In any given day, we can have 50,000, 100,000 planes transversing the country in a day. So 45 flights, even if the system went down, the air traffic controllers are fully capable of handling literally on slips of paper, if necessary, the slips of paper that they have managed to keep through all these years, they will be able to do it.
We have heard, Mary, that some employees from the FAA will be flying as the clock changes from New Year's Eve to the New Year. Do you think that's some sort of a way to put people's fears to rest, or more of a publicity stunt?
Well, that was a publicity stunt that they cooked up months and months ago when the only thing on the horizon was Y2K. With the added security concerns and the explosives that were picked up and all the terrorist threats, I think it would have been wiser, obviously, for those people to stay on the ground in a command center. We also don't want to spend all of our security making a couple planes safe for the FAA administrator, but unfortunately that plan was hatched a long time ago and it may have been too late to pull it out.
If the system were to go down, Mary, we're not talking about planes falling out of the sky, are we?
No.
What are you talking about then?
No, if the system goes down, and fortunately, or I should say unfortunately, we've had a lot of experience with that. What people don't realize is our air traffic control system and various components of it have failed repeatedly in the last few years. That's why we have had a congressional mandate to completely replace the system. We will have an entirely new system by 2015, and we've been bringing in pieces of it because it has failed so frequently. In 1 year, I think we counted when I was Inspector General something like 400 either computer or power outages, and the air traffic controllers have been trained to handle that because the system fails independent of Y2K.
Mary Schiavo, our aviation analyst, I thank you so much for joining us this morning, and Happy New Year if I don't see you again.
Yes, Jim, we're just a few minutes from midnight here in Seoul. The party is on in full force. We're just a few minutes away and standing right in the middle of the festivities in central Seoul. The theme of this year's festivities is very much peace, a very important subject for South Korea, which with North Korea remains one of the last frontiers of the Cold War, the world's last divided nation, going into the new millennium. The elaborate ceremonies that the Seoul government has planned include a street parade like the one you see going on behind me. There was also a lighting of a fire from the last rays of the sun of the last millennium. There's also even a mock UFO landing on top of one of these buildings. From this mock UFO, there'll be a mock alien that comes down the side of this building, and him or her will bring with him or her a message of peace. Just moments before midnight, this whole area will go dark, and then a giant pendulum will start ticking down the seconds to the top of the new millennium. At the stroke of midnight, there will be fireworks, a laser show, and there will even be a live birth of Korea's first millennium baby. With this event, South Korea's President Kim Dae-jung is expected to give his message of peace to the Korean people and to the world. So we're seeing a quite elaborate ceremony here in Seoul, and we'll expect to continue to see that most of the night. I'm Sun Ji-ae, reporting live from Seoul, Korea.
Thank you very much. We'll go from Korea to England, where millions are expected to celebrate the new millennium in a dome that was built especially for the celebration. All is not smooth sailing there, however. We'll tell you some of the glitches at this particular celebration. The Millenium Dome in Greenwich, England, ahead on CNN. The center of the festivities, the Millenium Dome. It's built especially for this historic occasion. CNN's Finola Sweeney joins us now live from Greenwich.
Thank you very much indeed, Darren. And yes, we are here just sitting by the Millenium Dome. It's been the subject of a lot of controversy, and it's going to be the scene for the official celebrations here in the United Kingdom later on this evening. It's just coming up on 3 o'clock in the afternoon here. The weather is rather overcast and dull, and the weather forecaster is predicting that the rain might just about hold off. Of course, that's not going to affect the 10,000 or so people who are going to be partying the night away here at the Millenium Dome, but it could easily affect the hundreds of thousands of people that are expected to line the route along the River Thames all through the City of London for all the festivities that are due to take place there. And I think with more details we can go now to CNN's Chris Byrne, who is down by the Ferris wheel just across from Big Ben at the Houses of Parliament along the Thames. Chris, I'm afraid, isn't there for the moment, but I think what he was going to tell you was about the Ferris wheel, which has also been known as the London Eye, and it was built specially for this millennium. It is designed to carry passengers with views all over the City of London as far as 35 miles. And unfortunately, a health or a safety check yesterday decided that it wasn't safe enough to carry passengers, which has put a little bit of a dent in the celebrations. So Tony Blair, the British Prime Minister, will actually beam off the Ferris wheel. He will switch on the Ferris wheel, but unfortunately, although it will be turning, there will not be passengers in it. There will also be a beacon. Beacons all over the country, and they're designed to raise money for charity, and it's been an event that's been going on for 6 years. And the largest beacon will be in London along the River Thames. As I say, all the celebrations taking place along here. The largest beacon on a barge, it's 26 feet high, and it weighs something like 35 tons, and it will be lit later on this evening by Queen Elizabeth II, and that's as she travels on her way to the Millenium Dome here at Greenwich. Now, as she passes through the Greenwich Mean Time, the Prime Meridian line, which officially decides how we set our clocks all around the world, there will be a gun salute, and that will trigger officially the celebrations here in London. From there, she will travel on to the Dome. She will meet the Prime Minister, Tony Blair, and then the festivities here will kick off, including a spectacular party later on tonight after the chimes of midnight by Big Ben. As I think you can hear, there's a lot of activity going on around here. Lots of security. People are not being allowed in unless they've been accredited. The 10,000 people who are invited to the party here tonight have been chosen from all over Britain. Unfortunately, there was a problem for the Millennium Committee when it was turned out yesterday that only 7,000 people had not got tickets. Only 3,000 tickets had been sent out to people. So what they're going to have to do today is arrive at the nearest train station and line up to receive those tickets. And because the Dome has been the subject of so much controversy, this has put a little bit of a dent in the crown of the Millennium Committee as well. But they say, and they've said as late as this morning, that only 400 families will be affected, that everybody who's supposed to be here will be here. And we'll be here, of course, bringing you all the very latest as it happens in and around London along the River Thames. For the moment, I'm Fionnuala Sweeney at Greenwich in London, handing back to you, Darren.
Fionnuala, before we let you run off to all the festivities, you mentioned the Queen. Will we be seeing other members of the royal family in the celebration, or are they choosing to bring in the Millennium more privately?
No, she will be accompanied by her husband, Prince Philip, and various members of the royal family will be attending various functions around the country. But this is really the highlight, and there actually had been some speculation as to whether the Queen would come at all, because for various reasons, the Dome, the cost of building the Dome, building a dome on a disused site where there isn't really a lot of people living around London, and people really were wondering whether it was really worth her while to come here. But she has decided that she will come here and she will officially open the Dome. And really the success of the Dome to date has been because the British Prime Minister Tony Blair decided to put his weight behind it. The Dome was conceived under the previous Conservative government, and of course when Tony Blair took over 2 years ago, it sort of went into a bit of an abeyance while he decided what he would do, whether he would allow the project to go ahead. But once he did, it was full steam ahead, and really this has been a triumph of will over a lot of controversy, particularly in the media here in Britain. And as a result, the Queen will be here and she will open officially the Dome, and tomorrow it will be open to the public, January the 1st. Darren.
Fionnuala Sweeney reporting to us from Greenwich, England. Thank you. Jim.
They're working together to prevent the threat of nuclear weapons accidents. CNN's Martin Savage joins us now from Colorado Springs with more.
Jim, here at the Strategic Stability Center, they have been watching the march of the Millennium across the initial time zones. They have been noting the fireworks, but the fireworks of celebration are not the ones that are of serious concern here. The establishment of this Y2K Center was set up under a bilateral agreement between the United States and Russia, in which missile commanders from both nations could sit side by side in one room and monitor the two superpower nuclear missile arsenals. Now, so far in the time zones where they have now transitioned into the year 2000, they have seen no indications of any missile launches, no heat signatures, no problems, no indications of problems coming as a result of any possible Y2K glitches. Obviously, that is of extreme concern. One thing to note, though, is that for both the U.S. installations for Missile Command and for the Russian Missile Command systems that are located in the time zones that have already rolled over, their clocks are set on times that have not gone into the year 2000. The Russian military is on Moscow time. The U.S. military is on Greenwich Mean Time. So their military computers have not at this point rolled over. There has not been a supreme test of their readiness at this particular time. So far, though, what they report is definitely good news. When you deal with nuclear weapons, no one wants to consider the alternative if there were to be any sort of breakdown. The clear line of communication remains open. They are speaking with Moscow all the time, outside and inside of this communication center. Jim?
Martin, this day we have seen the dramatic resignation of President Boris Yeltsin of Russia, and then the handover of power and the nuclear trigger to former Prime Minister and now acting President Vladimir Putin. What's been the reaction there today to that?
Well, we asked the head of the Russian contingent that was here as to how he was notified inside the center of the transition of power in his homeland. He stated that he learned about it the same way the rest of the world learned about it, through news accounts. Now, he followed up saying that in no way does this change or alter the readiness of the nuclear missile capability of Russia. He says that their alert status remains the same. The people in the command center in Moscow are the same. He is dealing with the same voices that they have dealt with over the past several days. There has been no change there, and they expect none to come. Jim?
All right, Martin Savage in Colorado Springs. Darren?
Just a couple moments ago, Fionnuala Sweeney in Greenwich, England, was telling us how there's been some glitches at the Millennium Dome celebration, including a little bit what you see there, the Ferris wheel. That giant Ferris wheel they built didn't really go exactly as planned. Our Chris Burns will tell us more about that when we come back.
fact, I would say that at least 25 to 30,000 people have arrived in the last 2 hours or so. So we do expect as the day goes on that they may even be rising to the level of the window behind me, Katie.
And of course, we want to take this opportunity to wish everyone watching a very happy and healthy 2000, which seems strange to say. Have a great day and a great night. We'll see you later.
Okay.
Behind me was the old traditional bund of the colonial powers built by the British in the 20s. And right across the river, which you may be seeing now, is the future. This is the China this is the image that China is desperate to project to the world. So much of what's happening in China today has to do with pride and trying to live down centuries of humiliation. China is desperate to prove to the world that it is a prosperous, self-confident, powerful nation worthy of respect. Hence all this modernity across the river, which 10 years ago was a rice field. I think you know when you were visiting here not long ago, Peter, you were up in some of those buildings which were just scaffolding. Now they're all completed.
Too high for me. Mark Litke is our chief Asian correspondent, so I want to take advantage of his Japanese background for a moment. The Japanese have had a very bad patch over the last decade, and as they go into this 21st century and we see all of this sort of hip goings on, are they self-conscious? Are they feeling better about themselves?
Well, I'm not sure that they are. This is the lost decade, they're calling it, the 90s, and they're very happy to be out of it. Maybe that's why some of this slightly light and frivolous entertainment is a way of forgetting how terrible it's been. The Japanese were deeply shaken by the collapse of their economy after feeling they were on top of the world only 10 years ago. They were deeply shaken by the Kobe earthquake, which shattered their faith in their country's strength and resiliency, and the faith in their own government, which couldn't help them during the aftermath of the quake. And they were deeply troubled by the terrible Aum Shinrikyo gas attack in the subways in Tokyo only a few months later, which shattered their belief in their nation as one of the safest places on earth. These are deep, deep psychological traumas that the country, I don't think, is out of yet. And I think there's a great deal of hope that the new century and the shaking up of the society that's taken place, yes, the new generation will allow the country to step forward. Thanks. But it's still slow going.
Thanks, Mark.
Here, and the new century begins over a divided Korea. We'll go live to Seoul.
Wherever you are in the world, we bring the world to you as CNN's coverage of Millennium 2000 continues right now.
Sun, the new century begins. 126 million people celebrating the arrival of the 21st century. And where Buddhism flourished, first the great bell, and then the cartoon. In Times Square, they're celebrating right along with the Japanese.
I got it.
In Times Square, they're celebrating right along with the Japanese, as you can see,
Happy New Year to the world.
with the petals.
Now,
And now we go to Korea, to Pushingak in Seoul. Pushingak, the great landmark on Chogno Street, the main street of downtown Seoul, to the Bell Pavilion. Talk about passages of time. The original bell built here was cast in 1468, and I assume this is the local anchor person doing his job.
Slowly starting to recover here, but unemployment remains very high, so a lot of challenges ahead for the Hong Kong government to try to keep the people here happy. Jim.
All right, Karuna Shinsho reporting to us live there from Hong Kong. A look at the harbor. We're going to take a short break here on World News. When we come back, we're going to take you to Times Square in New York, look at what's going on there. At the same time as we leave you now, I want to show you, this is the picture from the Chatham Islands. Daybreak, the new millennium in the South Pacific.
I think we're preparing for the countdown. There we are, 1 minute, a little bit more. And we'll see the celebration of midnight in Manila. These thousands of people are gathered all through the square. They're seeing this not only directly in front of them, but if their view is obstructed, they have giant screens that they can also look at to see. We have just switched to Taiwan through the magic of television in just the past few seconds, and now we're in a village in Taiwan, a country that was devastated by an earthquake at 7.6 on the Richter scale, September 21st. Country that is now rebuilding. 2,300 people died, 10,000 injured, 79,000 buildings destroyed or damaged, wrecked roads, dams, infrastructure. It's a wound that the country will have to recover from, and it is difficult, but here it is a moment of celebration right now as we watch the countdown to the millennium and 2000 in Taiwan. And there it is, 2000 in Taiwan.
Happy New Year! 2000年快乐！千禧年快乐！我们现在要释放下一批的天灯，特别请到。
These are wish lanterns that they're sending up into the sky. Peaceful wishes made for all the people, of course, who suffered in the earthquake in Taiwan, but for all the people around the world. As 2000 dawns, these wish lanterns being released, lighted one by one, and sent up into the sky.
Happy New Year! 新年快乐！各位，你在你旁边的人。
What an incredible sight that is. Thousands of years ago, they would use those lanterns to pass messages. There is a message we are getting though, from the Taiwanese right now, and that is a message of peace and hope for the millennium. Isn't that incredible? We're looking up at the sky and watching those wish lanterns float higher and higher. And after the countdown to the millennium, now we count up 2 minutes and beyond in Taiwan.
President and First Lady are arriving now. They're going to preside over a time capsule that will include such things as sunglasses from Ray Charles, a computer. It will include a dog tag that will be presented by General Colin Powell on behalf of the various veterans in the many wars that so shaped this century. It will also include, on a lighter note, a Twinkie. It's going to be including a variety of items that have been solicited, as I said, from schools around the country. Perhaps the most poignant will be a picture drawn by a high school in Connecticut, which will show Neil Armstrong stepping on the moon, probably the premier event of this century, watched by a homeless man. Jim?
All right. There's the scene near the mall. We thank Bob Franken for that report. We're going to look, though, at some of the other things that are going on right now, Darren.
Right. In order to have these big parties like the one taking place in Times Square, security is of a prime concern. And right now, our Carol Lynn is with the police commissioner of New York City to talk about just that topic. Carol.
That's right, Darren. Joining me now is Commissioner Howard Safer of New York City's finest. All the preparations and planning. We've heard about 8,000 police officers here in Times Square. How can you assess the security at this point?
At this point, everything is going well. It's going exactly the way we planned it. We do have a larger crowd earlier than we thought we would have, but we were ready for it. We expect that, by midnight, this place will be full. There'll be lots of people enjoying themselves, and everything should go well.
Your Joint Terrorism Task Force, the effort between your local officers and the federal government, has been making routine calls, checking on sources, intercepting communiques, looking for any sort of organized terrorist activity. Any indication that something might happen?
No, I'm the co-commander of the Joint Terrorist Task Force along with the Assistant Director of the FBI, and we have no specific credible threat that any terrorist is planning anything here in New York City. Of course, there are no guarantees. We have done everything humanly possible to protect this area. We believe it's going to be safe. I'm going to be here tonight at 12 midnight, and we expect everybody to have a good time.
I also understand that one of the key pieces of information from this area is going to be coming from literally hundreds of undercover police officers who are going to be providing real-time information about any suspicious activity here. How much of an asset is that to your department, the undercover operation?
I never discuss security operations. We are using every technique available to us to make sure that people are safe.
If something should happen with the power at midnight, you have your Office of Emergency Services downtown. Do you have an independent operation here that can respond to anything serious should communications break down?
We have planned for every contingency. We have backup communications. We have backup generator trucks. We have light trucks. All of our police vehicles will be equipped with special lighting to light up areas. We have an evacuation plan to make sure that, God forbid, anything should happen, we'll be able to move people in and out of this area safely. We don't expect anything to happen.
And that would be good news. So much focus, though, has been on organized terrorism, organized terrorist activity. But isn't it true, though, that if there is, say, a loner, a lone gunman, a lone bomber coming in, someone who has not actually discussed any of his or her plans with somebody else, isn't that really the greatest concern to your officers, what they don't know about the individuals coming in?
That, of course, is a real concern because you never know what individual human beings are going to do. One of the things we have done is we've trained our officers very well to look for suspicious activity, for emotionally disturbed individuals. The way we're set up here is everybody comes in controlled corridors where they're under observation by our police officers. Again, there are no guarantees, but we think we've done everything possible.
Well, certainly that effort is very visible here today with all your uniformed officers. Thank you very much, Commissioner, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Thank you.
We go back to Darren and Jim at CNN Center.
Carol, thank you very much. Nowhere do you hope they have their Y2K bugs worked out than on a nuclear submarine.
Well, you know, a nuclear submarine's marking more than just 1 century right now. They have something else to celebrate this year. We'll find out after a break.
That's working, and then there's one more I want to show you. And that is also from Australia. Power on, internet fine, dogs healthy, and beer still cold. Well, what more could you ask for during a successful Millennium rollover than that? Jim reporting live from the I2K Center on I Street. Rick Lockridge, back to you.
All right, thanks for that. You know, I can almost hear the people in the TV sets that are watching this around the world say, oh, I told you so. It wouldn't amount to anything, but we continue to watch. Darren?
Well, you know, you don't want to say that quite yet. As you mentioned when you introduced this piece, they still have a lot of countries to go, and problems still could pop up.
That's true.
All right, thanks, Rick.
That is true. They told us the beer was going to be cold.
That's it.
I remember that. Well, we're going to go from beer to a little vino, a little over 6 hours till midnight in Rome. And of course, when in Rome, you have to do as the Romans do. And that means sprucing up for the Millennium. With Vatican City right next door, millions of Christian pilgrims are expected to visit the city in 2000. Here's CNN's Gail Young.
House died yesterday at a nursing home in Allentown, Pennsylvania, apparently of natural causes. She was born in 1880 and worked as a homemaker and insurance office manager. In an interview last year, she said the key to longevity is to keep busy, work hard, and don't worry about how old you are. Coming up on Headline News, plan to ring in the new year with the remote control? We'll show you some of your choices after a check of the morning's top stories.
Sounds of the century will guide you into the next millennium.
Hey, does it get any better than that? My goodness. 18 minutes of the most fantastic fireworks I've ever seen.
Unbelievably intense.
Incredible. Happy New Year, everyone. Our coverage does not end right here. We'll be back in just a moment.
WJZ's Millennium Celebration continues. Happy New Year from Eyewitness News.
Pretty good. It's very pretty.
A ringing endorsement to the biggest fireworks display in
It was
Baltimore
great.
history.
How about you guys over here? Did you like the show?
You guys like the show?
Oh, loved it. Fantastic. Never saw anything like it. Beautiful.
Absolutely magnificent. They set the biggest and best ever. Did you agree?
Oh, no question about it.
Every other country had only 15 minutes. We had 18.
We had 18. We did.
Yeah, we had 18.
All right, Baltimore beats every other country.
I am guessing that Jane can probably hear us at the Inner Harbor. No, she cannot. Well, we'll talk to her in a minute, but I bet she had another great scene. From here, we could see and hear everything. Jane, how about you?
Well, Donna, first of all, it's just been a wild scene over here. I think that everybody would agree that that was one heck of a fireworks display, and this crowd has just loved it. There's no other way to put it. I mean, they're still here, as you can see. Some of these folks are going to be heading for home, but I can tell you a whole heck of a lot of them are going to be partying all night long. This has been a large crowd. It has been a very orderly crowd. And I want to tell you, I talked to a lot of folks throughout the week. Well, they missed it. No question about it. This was certainly the place to be as Baltimore welcomes and enters the new millennium. You can see now the crowd starting to disperse a little bit. There is this heavy haze hanging over the harbor because of the splendor and extent of that fireworks display that is from...
We lost Jane.
Talking about the crowd being orderly, and that's the way it's been all around the country tonight.
Well, it really has, and I think people are just enjoying this night and thinking about what it means to them and what the next millennium is going to mean. And it's just been a wonderful celebration, and people are very happy, very mellow. I haven't seen anybody being rowdy or bad
Nothing
behavior.
Like it. We've been on good behavior.
We've been walking around the harbor. It's been terrific.
And one of the big celebrations also has been going on, a tradition down in Annapolis. First night,
Right.
Mindy Becerra has been there all night.
Happy New Year, Mindy.
Happy New Year. Good behavior too here. But listen to this crowd. Listen how excited they are. We just got finished with our fireworks display here in Annapolis. These kids are awfully excited. And I wanted to show you something. If you could look over and see, yes, the crab has turned red. It is the year 2000. These folks here are awfully excited. Happy New Year, everybody. Wow, not too excited again. Everyone pretty well behaved most of the evening. No Y2K problems. Actually, this is the only sign of a Y2K bug we have seen all night long. They're handing these out over at Phillips Restaurant. So we hope this is the only sign of Y2K bug we see here. Reporting live in Annapolis, Mindy Becerra, WBAL 11 News.
They're having
some
fun.
Serious partying going on down in
They're
Annapolis
having
tonight,
fun, no
too.
doubt about it. And of course, just down the street, they've been having the largest interfaith service that's been going on in the state of Maryland. I believe Tim Tootin is still there live covering that service.
More than 4,000 people at last reported, may have grown. Tim's at the Baltimore Arena. Tim?
Yes, in fact, it has grown and people have already left for the night. This was a night of high spirits here at the Baltimore Arena. As you said, more than 4,000 people literally prayed their way into the new year. We have some videotape from earlier tonight. This was a night of high praise. Tonight's service was put on by the New Psalmist Baptist Church here in Baltimore. The celebration was highlighted with plenty of preaching and singing. Mayor O'Malley even stopped by earlier in the day. There is no doubt this was a night filled with non-stop religious celebration.
The magnificence of fireworks. And standing here at the Rusty Scupper, the fascinating thing was there were fireworks over there, and fireworks over there, and fireworks over there, and fireworks over all here, the way around us, which just sometimes was truly amazing, and especially at the finale.
As you said earlier, you actually could feel the intensity in your chest. Well, the heart was throbbing.
Yeah, you could feel them pounding, and I'm sure the big problem now is going to be everybody deciding to like whoosh, as they leave the harbor.
Well, yeah, and some of these people may not want to leave so quickly. They want to capture the moment.
Well, that's true. I'm sure some of the restaurants are going to be open probably until 1 or 2 a.m. so people can just relax and ease out and enjoy it. But it really has been the most magnificent night. Really has.
Rod, Marianne, we know you watched it on TV, but we wish you could have been down here in person.
And Happy New Year to both of you.
Same to you.
I don't know whether you guys were able to see it. There was a split screen up. New York was on the left-hand side of the screen, and we were on the right.
We saw
but
that.
You know what?
No comparison.
You know, it was exciting to watch for us, and we were wishing that we could be there to feel that excitement that you guys are feeling from the crowd who's there. But you know what? One thing I want to mention to you folks and to our viewers too, you know, the talk about the Y2K. Just before, about 10 minutes ago, Tony Pan checked all the weather computers, which are probably among the more sophisticated computers that we have in the building.
True.
Everything working fine, no problems whatsoever.
See, that's a good sign. We all have power. We're here. This is good. A good start to the Millennium.
And I haven't seen any lights going out here. Have you?
I've seen tons of them on.
I think all is well here at the Inner Harbor.
Absolutely.
We're safe and secure.
Well, you know, you were talking about all the different fireworks from all the different angles. We were able to capture those from the ground and from the air. This is the scene right now from News Chopper 11.
Look
of course,
at the haze.
It's quieted down quite a bit.
From the fireworks.
Yeah. Oh, it seems so quiet compared to how it was 25 minutes ago even.
Yeah. And the haze that you can see is sort of like in the middle to the lower portion of your screen. Maybe that's part of the fog that Tony Pan was talking about tonight driving home.
Just a magnificent night. Absolutely. Now go back to let's see the scene of the fireworks earlier tonight. If we have that view from the ground, we'll get some shots of News Chopper 11. Just glorious. And Rod was saying earlier, we had on our screen, if you were joining us for our broadcast here live from Times Square, and also here, and perhaps it was their perspective. Yeah. But it seemed that we had much better fireworks, didn't we?
I think the screen looked much more beautiful from Baltimore, thank you very much.
And D.C.
And D.C., but particularly...
And Miami.
From Baltimore, yeah. But our fireworks display was the most impressive that I have ever seen.
I like that glass is half empty.
During my tenure.
Isn't that a beautiful
Or is it half full?
Fireworks coming out of that glass there.
That's our cameraman's wife's glass.
Oh, there you go.
Good job. Holding it so still and steady there, just for that beautiful shot. Well, you know, I have seen fireworks at many different places. I'm sure you have as well. And I'd have to say, these are the best I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. There wasn't
as well it should be for the Millennium.
An extraordinary display. The city promised it and lived up to it.
Much better and much longer than we had. The July 4th display was beautiful, but this even stepped it up a notch.
It was incredible.
Didn't the mayor earlier tonight tell you that at 6 o'clock tomorrow, is that right, that they're going to have some form of fireworks for children?
PM,
6 p.m.
not AM.
Yes.
PM.
Yeah, make that straight.
For the kiddies.
Accidentally, he said 6 a.m. They said, no, I mean 6 p.m. I will not be here 6 a.m. in the morning.
Is it going to be the same magnitude as what we saw tonight?
No.
Or just
no, it'll be scaled down, but it'll be interesting.
But he said it would be fun for the kids. You know, you can bring your kids down. It won't be late. It'll be 6 o'clock tomorrow night, and they will enjoy it.
And he plans to be here himself with his family.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. In fact, I think he was going to go join up with his family in just a little while and celebrate New Year's with them. So
he's been making the rounds tonight.
He's had a busy night.
He's had a very busy night, as has everyone.
You know, aside from the one person down in the harbor there who decided to, I guess, let's say, go into the brink for a minute. We don't have any reports of arrests and so forth, and that's always good to hear.
So far, that's been the only problem, and unfortunately, they were able to pull that individual out,
we're happy for that.
and he's okay.
I hear his the date didn't go that well, though. Someone saw his date being led away, and she was crying.
Maybe
don't think there will be a second one.
A breath mint might have saved that. Okay.
We'll be back with more on the new Millennium right after this.
Save in every department at Circuit City's New Year's sale. Pay no interest till January 2001 on all purchases $2.99 and up. Don't miss the savings at Circuit City's New Year's sale.
Everything has gone very smoothly here, and we just checked with the folks inside. They've gotten similar reports from all the counties all over the state of Maryland. So they were hoping for a nice, quiet, boring night here at the Maryland Emergency Management Agency, and that is exactly what they got. Reporting live from Reisterstown, Liz O'Neill, WBAL 11 News.
And that is some of the best news we could possibly hear this morning.
Even more good news, I'm betting, from BGE tonight. Our reporter, Kimberly, has been down at BGE in Woodlawn all evening. With more on that, Kimberly?
Yeah, Marianne, this has been such a smooth transition into the new millennium here at BGE. Of course, they've been monitoring systems all over the city and surrounding counties, but no Y2K-related problems at all to speak of. Joining us now to talk more about it, Jessica Atwood from BGE, and it's really been a quiet, boring night here.
Absolutely, and we are very, very happy for that. We've been working for 3 years, so it was a quiet night for our customers. Very, very happy that this has been an uneventful evening.
Why do you think that is? What has BGE done? I know a lot of hard work was put into this.
Yeah, literally hundreds of employees have been working thousands of hours, testing equipment, making sure that we were ready to serve our customers, and thankfully tonight it all came together.
What's the next step now? I know you're still going to be monitoring systems very closely over the weekend.
Absolutely. We're going to stay through the night and through the weekend and on into the next week, making sure that our systems are okay and that we're there for our customers.
And
we're going to have a Happy New Year.
Okay, and a nice quiet weekend, too. Exactly. All right, that's the situation here down at BGE in Woodlawn. Kimberly Flood, WBAL 11 News. Back to you.
Okay, some good news to start things off. And as they said, they'll keep a close eye on it through Monday when everybody returns to work and see how everything comes out.
Another place we want to check for you is the airport. I guess it's almost like sitting on the dock of the bay watching the tide roll away. Lisa, it wasn't much happening there earlier tonight. What's going on there now? Lisa Robinson.
Let me tell you, this headpiece that I got from BWI officials, this is the most exciting thing that happened out here tonight. Business as usual. You can see the folks are clear. Happy New Year, guys! Now, I just got off the phone a little while ago with the officials here at BWI. They just finished checking all the systems. All systems are go. They said, see the lights? Everything's on. It's working. Good news from here. Happy New Year, you guys. Rod, Marianne?
All right, Lisa Robinson reporting live from fairly uneventful, and we're thankful for that, BWI Airport.
Very quiet. I'll bet you never see BWI that quiet.
No,
ever.
You're right about that.
A big celebration a little farther to the south, of course, in our nation's capital tonight. There, it was a bit of a controversy that they were using the monument as the centerpiece for the fireworks display tonight, but the celebration went well without a hitch. At first, they had trouble getting people into the mall area because of the very tight security, and then they slackened off on the security there, basically letting anybody come in without having anything checked.
There were so many people being held back by security in Washington. Someone made the call, well, just let the people through for this Millennium celebration. So far, we have heard no talk of arrests or any problems in Washington, D.C., and folks apparently enjoying themselves as we also enjoy some videotape from the Millennium celebration just down the road in Washington.
The Washington Monument still under renovation, but definitely the scene of total celebration tonight in our nation's capital. But I don't know if it was quite as noisy there as it was at the Inner Harbor.
Oh, yeah.
Virgin and Donna were there this evening when all of the celebrating was going on in Baltimore. Have you recovered your hearing yet? It was so loud.
What'd you say?
What?
Yeah?
Huh?
Hearing voices, we're celebrated out.
We are indeed. You know that we were sitting around earlier and deciding that, and after watching some of the live shots, who had the least interesting assignment, and I'm not sure if it was Lisa or Liz.
It was a close call.
I think it was pretty
very
close. Because there was nothing happening in either of those places.
This was the place to be.
You know, the Virgin
but that's
Donna.
a good thing.
Virgin Donna, can we maybe say it's cliche, but you know, in this sense, no news is good news.
It's very good news
Rod.
indeed.
Absolutely, but
it made for a happy holiday.
Oh,
this was the place. This was a happening spot tonight.
I wish you had been down here. It really would have.
Oh, we would have loved to have been there. We could have brought the whole party down.
Yeah, and there were a lot of kids down here, too, which was really neat. There were a lot of children down here who really seemed to enjoy themselves a great deal. They had a children's tent on the other side of the harbor, or they had special activities for them, storytelling and different things going on.
So one night when the kids had no curfew.
Well, we must tell you,
probably.
We want to share with you and our viewers also, a lot of our management people here and folks who have to work this evening, it was just kind of added a nice touch of almost like being at home. We had kids in and out, some with sleeping bags and up and down the steps.
Camped out throughout the station.
Yeah, and it kind of gave us a sense of home here at the TV station, even though we had to work. But it was kind of refreshing to see that here.
Well, we all brought friends and family down as well, because on a night like this, it is very special, and you do want to be with the people that you love.
Sure.
I mean, that's just all there is to it. Even if you have to work, it's nice to be with those close to you.
No question.
Start a new millennium and a new year on the right foot. With the ones you love.
With the ones you love.
Or at least you work with. That's always good.
Marianne's taking exception to that.
Tell you, we have some crazies out here on the water right now, though. The
Yes,
celebrants continue shouting and the partying on the boats.
Water. Are they in the water?
No. They're above
the
water this time.
On the water.
They're on boats passing by the Rusty Scupper, and the harbor shuttle keeps coming in and out, and boats cruising in, because a lot of people, of course, what do you say? Anchored. That's it. They anchored to see the fireworks, and now they're leaving. They're saying, "Woo!"
And they are well anchored, believe me. Yes,
oh, that's a nice shot.
Well, we're going to take a short break. We'll be back with more coverage from the Inner Harbor tonight as Baltimore celebrates the new year and the new millennium. We'll be right back.
Crystal.
Is that gorgeous?
Just absolutely gorgeous. I believe it was put together.
Yes, of Waterford crystal.
Put together in Ireland. We're going to rejoin Virgin Donna, who are live in the Inner Harbor once again, guys.
Great way to welcome in the new year, any way you look at it, whether you were there watching on Channel 11 or down here live in person. Fantastic.
It really was, and I know a lot of people were celebrating at home. And for those of you who were and were watching on television tonight, from all of us, we wish you a very, very happy new year and a wonderful new millennium.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year to everyone, and a safe new year.
As we leave you this evening, we thought the celebration in the Inner Harbor was just so outstanding. We'd like to leave you and your families on the beginning of this, the dawn of a new millennium, fireworks from right here in Baltimore. Happy New Year, everybody, from all of us here at TV 11. We'll see you in the year 2000.
We had you projected on the wall above our fireplace. Your face was about 4 feet tall.
Well, I know you're very, very family-oriented. Did you have your kids and your grandchildren there?
Yes. When the ball landed on the building, I was dancing with my 2.5-year-old granddaughter. It was a wonderful evening.
Well, that's fantastic. Alan, you're one of the people who's had such a wonderful interest in the world. As you look back over almost any period of time you choose, what rushes to mind, if anything?
As I look back over the time, you're saying the time that
yes.
We spent before we got to this millennium.
Yes.
Well, it's an interesting question to me, because tonight we played a game where we were trying to figure out the greatest inventions in the last 2,000 years, and you almost can't name any single one, except what your show has been doing all day long and will do through the night is an example of one of the most remarkable things that's happened, I think, and that's this the convergence of abilities to communicate globally. I mean, look at what that represents. Look at what your show alone is representing in terms of global communication. It shows how far we've come in the last, say, couple of 100 years. You could communicate at the speed of a horse 200 years ago. And now it's at the speed of light. And yet, that cut that you made from the celebration in Moscow to the utter silence in that refugee camp in sub-Saharan Africa was, to me, a very moving image of how far we have to go if we're going to be around for another 1,000 years or 2,000 years. I mean, we have really important work to do, and it's monumental compared to say, communications that have achieved what they have to this point.
As you were sitting with your friends tonight, were you making New Year's resolutions?
Nobody seems to have made one. That seems to be probably have grown a great deal in the past 1,000 years if nobody made one tonight.
I agree. Well, thank you for staying up and talking to us. What are you looking forward to most in the future? And I know I'm going to say don't include your family and your kids because I know how strongly they feel, but what are you looking forward to most in the days ahead?
You know, I think one of the things that excites me the most is the internet and the ability to reach other people with what I know how to do. And I think, you know, as part of the entertainment community. And I think that I will probably be doing that, and most of us will be doing it through the internet in the coming years. And it's a very exciting thing. It must be the way people felt at the beginning of this century as the film opened up and then radio and eventually television. It's thrilling to think of what can happen.
Here we are on the edge of another age of invention. Yeah.
It really is extraordinary, and it moves so fast. It turns out that everything moved for the past couple of 100 years. It seems to me that this has been 1,000 years of acceleration. You know, Newton studied acceleration, and everybody else is practicing it, and we're moving faster and faster as we understand more and more about what moving faster means. We don't really know where we're headed. We're going so fast. We're all flying 1,000 miles an hour, and it's really exciting.
You make a point. Well, I've always thought you knew where you were going. I wish you and your family a very, very happy New Year. I know your passion with the internet. Try to stay off at least until tomorrow.
I have my computer shut down until tomorrow.
Thanks, Alan. Alan Alda.
Great to talk. You're doing a great job.
New Year's. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Alan, thanks very much. We'll continue our Millennium coverage in just a moment. Happy New Year to you, Kyle.
Fireworks are lighting up the sky. As I say, along the lakefront, there are 6 locations which are having fireworks demonstrations like these.
Well, you're in one of the cities that's paid attention to its waterfront, lakeshore in Chicago, uncluttered, unencumbered by either advertising signs or buildings right on its edge. So very few lakeshore waterfront cities in the world have kept and preserved the access to the water like this one is.
They are very proud of this area. They call it Chicago's front yard.
Thank you, Chicago, and Happy New Year's to all of you out there. Let's go now to join briefly the celebration in Mexico City. In New Orleans. We'll go back to Mexico City in just a minute. New Orleans celebration of midnight is well underway. ABC special coverage of the Millennium continues. But we're going to pause for just a second here to let some affiliates leave us for a local news update if they choose. The rest of you, I hope to stay with. Barbra Streisand concert in Las Vegas tonight, in which, of course, a great many people were actually in attendance. Elton John, we've heard from a little earlier in this evening. We were a little surprised to hear that he chose to sing this song on the Millennium, but he did. And look back over the last few years of the century, surely one of the shooting stars was Diana, Princess of Wales, and Elton John, as millions and millions of people around the world know, sang that in her honor at her funeral in Westminster Abbey. How times have changed. When this century opened, it was with Queen Victoria's funeral at Westminster Abbey, and it ended, and only people who shared it were the people who were in the Abbey, who learned about it via the telegraph or via the post, by the mails, in the days and months after that. When Diana's funeral was held in the same Abbey with the same Anglican service, hundreds of millions of people celebrated, commemorated it around the world together. Such is the age of technology. Here in Times Square, people are gone, but they can't be out of here all the time. And Jack Ford, where did they go?
Peter, that's the question we're asking ourselves right now. You know, we got here about 5 o'clock this morning. We saw the self-proclaimed crossroads of the world fill up with revelers. We have seen them now leave to go home very quickly. But by any measure, Peter, it was a resounding success today. You know, this event, as with so many around the world, was haunted by the specter of possible violence. Not only did we not see the type of cataclysmic episode that can so mar our collective psyches, but we were told by police officials that it was remarkably free of any type of serious incident at all. The people came here, Peter, to party. It came in numbers larger than any veteran New Year's Eve watchers had ever seen before, and they were treated to an event that was different from anything anybody had ever seen before, a sort of an amalgam of theater, of street festival, of dance, of light and sound shows. They came here to celebrate, and celebrate they did. Peter, somebody had written once that Times Square was at once exotic, erotic, chaotic, sometimes idiotic, but never dull. And it was not dull tonight, Peter. It was indeed a night to remember.
Thank you very much, Jack. I must say, I turned around a little while ago and all the people had gone, but there were so many people here tonight in so many different side streets that I suspect they are still making their way home. But
mountain cities and others, it's now a time for fun, not games. CNN's coverage of Millennium 2000 rocks on right now. In Phoenix, Arizona, from deserts to the dessert of a new and special year, the Millennium is approaching.
And in Salt Lake City, where first night celebrations abound and where they are sipping instead of champagne, apple juice.
Okay, this is the world.
36 seconds to go.
I'll try not to do anything crazy. 30 seconds. 20 seconds.
18, 17, 16, 15.